Hey there, and apologies for the quality of the video. I'm actually recording off of my phone. The reason for that is, well, Lightning decided I needed other plans besides using my normal equipment. It is currently going to have to be replaced. I need to see a cost on that and all of that, so, well, we're where we are. With this, however, it shows you exactly where the comic book industry is and one of the failings that it has. In front of you, what you see is something that can't be pinned on a company either. This is a failing with personnel. Now, we have a lot of different things within the comic book industry. We have people that have been there forever. We have new voices and on. But one of the common threads that you see are people that do not know how to resonate with consumers. This is a problem, a fundamental one, and something that you see remedied in other companies or in other kinds of industry, but not one that you see here. The reason for that is because people seem to buy into this idea of artist. They seem to think that they don't need the consumer. And well, if you're going out and you want art simply to be art, that's fine. You can go out, you can be a hobbyist. Heck, maybe you can be like a Neil Gaiman that's going to be included within this stuff. And maybe you can go out and you can sell millions of copies. The thing within that is that you have to somehow, in some way, connect with an audience. And well, when you're trying to do that, not listening to them, talking about dunking on them and on, well, that's not a way to do that. So within this message here, like I say, you see a failing. This is a failing on a consumer relations level. You see the person there, update at the top. Dummies are still trying unsuccessfully to dunk on Neil Gaiman, and Gaiman continues to respond in the classiest way imaginable. Now, I want you to look at this exchange, and you see what is considered classy within this. So you have the initial response. You're very welcome, but I've probably cost you sales with my vocal disdain. Some people enjoy being kicked in the nuts, but it's not something I'd try twice. To everyone else who enjoys Norse myth and the art of rehashing, there are many other fantastic books at your local library. So Neil Gaiman, I'm afraid it's already sold millions of copies, so you are coming in a bit late, but you are, of course, absolutely free to tell everyone you want to that you didn't like it and they shouldn't waste their money. No book is for everyone. Now, the way that's there, I'm sorry about that, hey, what can we do about this? I'm sorry you feel that way. That would have been enough. But no, you have to go out and you have to make a statement about, hey, I sold millions of copies already, and all of the stuff that you're saying, it's a bit too late there. Now, when the normal person sees that, if you're outside of this sphere, one of the way that people can look at that is to see that is ego. I mean, it sounds like pure narcissism. Also, the person here within this exchange, this person is talking about being a buyer. Now, until recently, I had never heard of a concern troll, but nowadays you hear about stuff like that. It's one of the things that these comic book artists, they throw out into the ether. They talk about people not actually being a consumer. At one time, we heard things like kill them with kindness, always be a professional above all. Well, now that's not the case because, again, there seems to be this idea, this disconnect that I don't need you. Now, this person, for all you know, they could follow your book. They could run libraries. Heck, they could have power over something that could sell not only 1 or 2 units, but they could have power over selling thousands of units. You don't know who the people are online. That, again, is a fundamental disconnect within this industry because, again, customer service. There needs to be something added there, especially people that represent practices out. Like, say, Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman represents self, but Neil Gaiman also represents brands. For the longest time, for myself, I would go out and I would pick up his stuff without question. But lately, when I've seen things from him, I've thought, why in the world would I ever buy things from him again? because he does not seem to care. He seems to say, hey, I don't need your money. And that's fine. If you don't need my money, then DC, Vertigo, they don't need my money. That's the way that you're sending a message. You freelance for these people. That seems to be their favorite word of the day. Well, when you represent them this way, that freelancing, you may again have all the money that you need. But if you continue accepting jobs from places, well, they need to have standards. And unfortunately, when they look at this, not many companies do. I see Alterna actually has a behavioral thing. They actually talk about representing your product and not blocking people and so on. They at least have a start to that. And DC pays lip service to that. But really, insulting customers, going out having back and forths, arguing, not trying to diffuse situations, that is a dead art. Right here, when we're talking about an art class and a dead art, I'm seeing more and more of this all the time. Anyhow, tell me what you think about this kind of stuff. And again, this is not one thing that is removed with Neil Gaiman. I see more and more of it. He goes out all the time, and this is how he deals with issues. He basically has to take shots at people. That is his brand. And if that's your brand, so be it. But it does impact sales. And if you are about maximizing sales in a declining industry, yeah, you do everything that you can to go in and placate consumers, because the consumer is not always right. Their money is always right. Therefore, you should do your best to make them feel like they're always right and their grievances are heard. My final thought on this is there are a lot of issues out there too. The rising pricing point, like I say, the gimmicks. We see the gimmicks out of companies. That tells you that they are having problems. When you have to eternally reboot, eternally raise prices, throw out 20 to 40 covers, and so on. When you have to talk about everything but the continuation of story, bringing in people and propagating an enjoyment of that, then you have a problem there. There is a fundamental disconnect. But on top of that, the pros, they're not helping. They are not helping this thing. And when they talk about newer and newer voices coming in, maybe a Neil Gaiman is set for life. Maybe he never has to concern himself with money again. And that's great. I'm glad for him. I'm glad that he is in a position that most people aren't in, because when most people see something like this, they don't feel respected. They'll just move on. But anyhow, when you see this and you see other exchanges like that, do you think that way? What exactly do you take from things like that? Like I say, I'm curious about people's opinions on that. Also, if you like this kind of material, consider supporting the channel. Obviously, right now, that'll be used for upgrades and whatnot. So there are many ways to do so. There is a Patreon link within the description. There is a PayPal link if you'd like to do that. Also, like and subscribe. Make sure that you help out any channel that you enjoy for sure too, because, well, YouTube, it definitely doesn't love the wrong thinker. But like I say, tell me what you think on this. We also passed 8,700 today, so that's a great thing. I'm feeling that 10,000, and I thank you all for it. I'm humbled by it. So thank you. Bye.